Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to decode the surprising psychology behind a habit you might know all too well, constantly saying, "I'm sorry." We are going to look at the cognitive architecture of chronic apologizing, and I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to see yourself in a completely different light.
Think about it. Have you ever been walking down the street, someone else bumps into you, and the words, "I'm sorry," just fly right out of your mouth? Or, maybe you've apologized just for asking a simple question, or for literally just taking up space. Maybe you've even found yourself apologizing to a piece of furniture you bumped into. It's relatable, it's a little bit absurd, and, well, society has a lot to say about it.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where the paradigm really shifts. Society often labels this behavior as a lack of confidence, weakness, or just chronic people-pleasing. But psychology reveals something completely different. Science proves this behavior doesn't mean you're broken or overly submissive. In fact, it shows your brain is operating with a rare level of awareness, emotional intelligence, and real cognitive depth.
To truly understand this, we need a roadmap to dismantle the myth of the chronic apologizer. So here are 5 frameworks. 1. Active observation. 2. Social sensitivity. 3. The trust threshold. 4. Cognitive reflection. And 5. Psychological safety.
Let's jump right into number 1, active observation and high emotional intelligence.
Let's explore how your brain processes the hidden layers of social interactions that most people just completely miss. While most folks only hear what is explicitly said out loud, your brain is doing something called active observation. You're constantly processing subtle shifts in tone, micro-expressions, and tiny changes in people's moods. Because you have such high emotional intelligence, you're always reading between the lines. The absolutely crucial point here is that your apologies actually stem from this heightened awareness. You are hypersensitive to how your presence impacts the emotional state of others. You aren't apologizing because you're weak, you're apologizing because you notice absolutely everything.
Moving on to point 2, the power of social sensitivity.
So how does all that active observation manifest physically? Well, psychology tells us that some people naturally possess a highly sensitive nervous system. This is called social sensitivity. It means you literally feel the tension in a room way more intensely than the average person. When there's even a hint of awkwardness or conflict, your brain immediately wants to regulate it. Over-apologizing is just your mind's natural built-in tool for maintaining social harmony and reducing friction in your environment.
And this brilliantly illustrates why that regulation is so important when we look at your cognitive bandwidth. A staggering 75% of your mental energy can be drained by unresolved tension. Think about that. Regulating the room with a quick apology isn't about giving up your power. It's actually an incredibly efficient way to protect your precious cognitive bandwidth from the exhausting drain of an awkward or tense environment. Which brings us to number 3, your brain's protective shield.
Psychology shows that our past experiences heavily shape our trust threshold. Think about your own past for a second. Did you experience an environment where you constantly had to walk on eggshells, or where small mistakes caused huge, unpredictable reactions? If so, your brain adapted to survive. It learned to use apologies as a proactive shield. Just like treating a birthday like a normal day can be a protection mechanism against disappointment, constantly saying sorry is a subconscious protection mechanism to diffuse anger before it even has a chance to start.
I want you to really let this sink in. You aren't flawed. Actually, your brain is working overtime to keep you safe. It's an adaptation. It's a brilliant piece of psychological armor that you develop to navigate a really complicated world.
Okay, let's hit number 4, rapid cognitive reflection.
What happens in the exact milliseconds before you ask someone for a simple favor? Many people just speak and act freely without a second thought. But highly intelligent people, they analyze consequences in milliseconds. You don't just react, you reflect. This is a trait known as cognitive reflection. You are literally running lightning-fast mental simulations before you even open your mouth.
Here is that rapid-fire process in action. Before you even ask a question, your brain simulates the request, calculates the potential inconvenience, evaluates the other person's energy, and finally delivers a polite acknowledgement, often in the form of the word sorry. That sorry is not an admission of guilt or low self-esteem. No way. It's a highly intelligent, incredibly polite acknowledgement of the other person's time and energy.
Finally, number 5, psychological safety versus ego.
Let's contrast the ego-driven need to be right with the rich inner world of the chronic apologizer. Ego-driven minds refuse to apologize because they demand external validation. To them, admitting fault feels like a literal threat to their identity. But the hyper-empathetic mind operates completely differently. If you over-apologize, you likely have a much deeper inner world. You take the blame to keep interactions smooth because you want to avoid a pointless, draining argument. You understand that true peace thrives in psychological safety, and you're perfectly willing to be the person who provides that safety for everyone in the room.
You simply value peace over pride. That is the defining characteristic of this behavior. You aren't surrendering, you're actively choosing the environment you want to live in.
So what should you take away from all of this? The next time you catch yourself apologizing for something that absolutely wasn't your fault, stop being so hard on yourself. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Your mind simply works with more awareness, more sensitivity, and more depth. You are managing the social fabric of the room in ways most people can't even comprehend.
Which leaves us with one final thought. Knowing that your instinct to say sorry comes from a place of deep empathy, active observation, and rapid cognitive reflection, will you still apologize for having high emotional intelligence? Take a moment to think about that. And hey, if you love exploring the psychology behind human behavior and learning why people think and act the way they do through these explainers, be sure to hit subscribe. We have plenty more coming your way that decode the human mind. See you next time.